An equilateral triangle has a perimeter of 21. If the area is multiplied by 1/2, what's the new side length going to be? Okay, so remember, we had our little chart in the past that told us what happens. Okay, so we had our dimensions here, and we had what happens to the perimeter here, and we had what happens to the area here. Okay, so if you take your dimensions and you multiply by a number, multiply by, let's say, A, the perimeter is also multiplied by A, but the area is multiplied by that squared, because remember, area is two-dimensional. So let's take a look at this. The area is multiplied by 1/2. Oh, that's down here. Okay, so what happened to the dimensions? What is the new side length going to be? We need to go backwards. And what's the backwards of squaring a number? It's doing the square root. Well, when you do the square root of 1/2, you get 1 over the square root of 2, because the square root of 1 is 1 on the top, and the square root of 2 is, well, just the square root of 2. And we leave it kind of looking like that. They want to know what's the side length. Well, what was the side length originally? If you have an equilateral triangle with 3 sides, what was their original length? They have to be exactly the same, because that's what equilateral means, is you have 3 equal sides. Okay, so what would they have to be? What times 3 gives me 21? Very good. 7. Okay, so this side was length 7, this side was length 7, and this side was length 7 also. But then we came along and multiplied the area by 1/2. That means we're multiplying each of our dimensions, each of our sides, by 1 over the square root of 2. Okay, because we do the square root. Okay, that gives me 7 over the square root of 2 as my answer. They may simplify this. We're not allowed to have square roots in the bottom, so this could be the answer, but we're not allowed to have square roots in the bottom of a fraction. It's just a no-no. So to get rid of it, what we do is we multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 2. It's just like when you're trying to make a common denominator for a fraction, you multiply the top and bottom by something. And when we do that, notice we get 7 times the square root of 2 over 2 times 2 is 4, and the square root of 4 is 2. That's why we multiply by that, is so we can get rid of those square roots in the bottom, because they are a no-no. Okay, but again, what did we do? We found out what the original side length was by dividing 21 by 3 evenly, since those are equilateral. And then we said, well, the area is times 1/2, so the sides must be multiplied by the square root of that, because we're coming backwards. And that gave us a side length of 7 divided by the square root of 2, which we did our algebra simplifying and finally found our answer to be 7 times the square root of 2 over 2. Okay, a circle has circumference 24 inches, or excuse me, 24 pi. If its area is multiplied by 4, what is the new radius? Alright, so we can work this out, or we can use our little cheat sheet. Remember, we had our little cheat sheet. If you change the dimensions, okay, and multiply them, say times the number A, what happens to the perimeter? And what happens to the area? Well, the perimeter is times that same number. The area is times that number squared, because the number is times itself when we multiply to find area. So let's take a look. What if the area is multiplied by 4? So the area is times of 4. Well, what would A have to be? What number do you square to get 4? Easiest way to figure that out is take the square root. And you'll find that it's 2. Okay, so when you're going back this direction, you do the square root to figure out what's happening to your dimensions and also find out what's happening with your perimeter. So what would the new radius be? Well, we can try this out. The circumference is 24 pi. That means our diameter is 24 because circumference can be written pi times the diameter. Okay, that means our radius was 12. So the new radius should be twice that, we decided. Okay, so our new radius should be 12 times 2, or 24. Again, you can try this out by hand. One thing you can do is say, okay, if I have a circumference of 24, that means that my diameter was 24 and my radius was 12, and that my original area was pi times 12 squared, since the area of a circle is pi times radius squared, or 144 pi. 12 times 12 is 144. If that area were multiplied by 4, okay, that would tell me my new area. This is a second way you can do this problem. My new area would be 576 pi, okay? And we want to know what's the radius. Well, we know this number right here is the radius squared. So if we take the square root, that will give us our radius. And if you take the square root of 576, my darn, you do get a radius of 24. Okay, so again, 2 ways you can do that. You can draw out the circle with the actual measurements, or you can use our little cheater chart where we do square roots going this direction and we square going the opposite direction.